All right, MMA Maniacs, it's time once again for Split Decision, your weekly MMA podcast brought to you from the Ruloff Family Inc. studios. Bueller and Dodge, the mic's ready to bring you the news, recap some of the UFCs that we've had recently, as well as the Ultimate Fighter from this week.
And we're previewing a fight.
And we're previewing a fight that I didn't know we had.
UFC just keeps rolling them out, man.
They do. They're like not stopping the freight train at all. Make sure you get us wherever you're getting us right now. There's a bunch of options. iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Of course, if you want to follow us online, we have Facebook, which is Split Decision MMA Podcast. And on Twitter and Instagram, it is SD_MMA. I'm not sure how often Albert's updating that, but it's there.
It's there.
It's available. Big thanks to you guys for following us on Facebook. I know we just crossed over the 700 mark, which is pretty damn awesome. So, yeah, keep it up. Keep it up. Tell your friends. Subscribe on iTunes. You'll never miss a show, too. So let's go ahead and jump off with some news here about Paul Daly.
Paul Daly has recently had his management team write a letter to the UFC begging to come back to the UFC. Says that he's grown up since the incident. You know, remember when he punched Koscheck after the bell?
Oh yeah,
sucker punched him. And
I applauded him for that.
Yeah, he's on a big win streak. He's still a big star. He wants to get. It's one of the biggest regrets of his life. He wants to get back in the UFC. And Lorenzo said he's okay with it. They're leaving it solely up to Dana White whether or not he will come back.
Wow.
And he says he hasn't had the time to think about it.
It doesn't take much thought.
All he says is what he did was unforgivable. In the history of the UFC, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever walked up to a guy and punched him after the bell.
It was childish, and we gotta think, regardless of how much growing he's done since then, has he been taunted like Josh Koscheck taunted him in that fight, which is what got under his skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if he's been on a killer win streak, then obviously he hasn't had to worry about that. So is he just grown because he hasn't lost, or has he actually grown?
I don't know. Koscheck just one of those hateable fighters that if it was Koscheck again, would he hit him again, or if everybody else he's cool with?
Like I said, I was happy when he did it. I applauded it. I was like, yeah, cool, but you still got to go for it.
I'm surprised that Koscheck didn't punch him.
He shouldn't. He just laughed.
Got better poise than that.
He knew he won, and he laughed.
Yeah. Oh no, he's got way better poise than that, and that's the thing too. Is like and like I said, I'm laughing. Doesn't mean you're not in trouble. That's what I tell my kids. But if he comes back and then he ends up doing it again, then it's gonna. This is a very iffy situation, and it can happen. I
don't think he's ever going to do it again.
Well, but my thing here is it's a very iffy situation for any fighter that's ever been kicked out of the UFC for unsportsmanlike conduct. Mm-hmm. If Daly comes back, this opens the door for other fighters to possibly come back in for certain things.
Well, I mean, think about it. Think about the guys who have been kicked out that have been allowed back. I mean, you got Nate Marquardt and got Anthony Johnson, both who missed weight day of fight. You know what I mean? Or they got busted for being over on something, and Dana White said they'll never fight in the UFC. Both those guys are back. I mean, Nate Marquardt hasn't fought in a little while, but he was back in the UFC after the Strikeforce thing.
As much as
Anthony Johnson's going to have a fight coming up.
As much as missing weight sucks, it's not the same as unsportsmanlike conduct when you're punching a guy after the bell.
You guys that got banned for drugs, or banned for marijuana, or banned for TRT,
for wearing a bright banana hammock.
You know what I mean?
Did they get him for unsportsman conduct?
Dennis Hallman?
Or they just let him go?
No, he didn't get banned for that. I think he had one more fight after that.
He had one more fight after that, yeah.
But then you guys, but I don't want to say it's a slippery slope, but then there's the guy, the military guy, who him and his wife are both petitioning the UFC for him to come back in. Yep. And nobody even knew anything about his history until it was
brought up. Somebody dug into it.
So I don't know. I don't have a problem with Paul Daly coming back and fighting if he's talented enough to make it in the division. I mean, we see it in every other sport. Mm-hmm. Guys get in trouble for all kinds of stuff in football, and they still get to play football. So is the UFC just going to follow suit and become like every other sport that just turns a cheek to the antics that are in or outside the ring, or are they going to hold tight to what they have been? And if you act like that, then you can't be representative of their organization.
How do you feel about it being solely up to Dana White's decision?
He's wishy-washy, though.
And I know it's difficult for me to look at that too, because he doesn't ever like going back on his word. Ever.
But does all the time.
He doesn't publicly do it though. Like now the pressure's on him publicly. Now he's been called out like this is just your decision. So if we see Paul Daly, everybody knows Dana White's the one who said yes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Whereas guys get back in after missing weight or something like that, there's never been a you're held accountable for this.
Right.
So that makes me almost think that he won't do it just for that reason. Because it might mess with his ego, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind seeing Paul Daly fighting. I would have no problem with that.
All right. So the UFC has decided to come back to Connecticut. They haven't been back to Connecticut to put on fights since 2005, UFC 55.
Wow.
So this is going to go down September 5th. This is going to be a Fight Night card, Fight Night 50. What's really crazy about this whole thing is, come to find out, Bellator 123 will literally be in the same state and about, I think they said 10 miles away, if that.
Oh, God.
At the same time.
Poor Bellator.
So Bellator 123 is going to be headlined by James Irvin, former UFC fighter, and Brendan Ward, who's coming over. He's coming off a loss Bellator, but he's to the champ. There's going to be some decent fights on that, but they haven't. UFC has not announced this haven't announced the main event yet, but they're saying that this fight is going to happen the same day, same night. 10 miles away.
That's like when you're
on purpose.
That's like when you're.
Do you think it's on purpose?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They've been there since UFC 55. That's like when you're getting in with a chick at a party. You're having a great time, and she's feeling you. You're like, oh, I'm gonna take this chick home. This chick's totally into me. She likes me a lot. This deal is sealed. And then your homeboy, who's captain of the football team and super handsome, shows up and says one thing to her, nods at her, and goes, "Hey." And she walks off with him. That's what this is right here.
Fucking musicians.
Yes. Guy shows up with the goddamn acoustic guitar and sits in the corner and all the bitches flock to him.
Wait. No. You know what happens if that does? I end up like Bluto from Animal House and just smash the shit out of his guitar and throw that shit in the air.
Lesbian seagull. So this is a real thing? This is a real thing?
I love this news.
I saw this the other night after The Ultimate Fighter. Yeah.
Everyone freaks out about this. Dana White, now, you have to take this for what it is, said, hypothetically, if anybody could ever replace him, who would it be?
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
He's saying, I think Chael Sonnen is the only guy.
No way.
He says he would be fantastic. He over-exaggerates a little too much. You don't know what's real and what's not. But, he has a good mix, same thing as Dana White has. Yeah. They're saying intelligence, brash thinking, personality. I think they've asked him this before, and he kind of laughed, and he was like, I guess, yeah, he'd be a good candidate. So you have to take it for what it is. It's not like they're saying Dana White is stepping down and Chael Sonnen's now going to be the president.
Dana White would never step down.
Or even, this is my successor, it's going to happen. He's just saying, out of anybody right now, he would be somebody he would consider, other than he does say he over-exaggerates a little much.
This is going to be like the Jay Leno-Conan situation.
I don't know. He's just not... I'm not scared.
He knows how to promote.
I'm not scared of Shale. Dana worries
till he has the power.
If it's like me and Dana in a hallway, I'd be like...
he's a little unstable.
Yeah.
He's a little unstable.
Shale, I'd just be like, really, brother? This ain't TV now.
Yeah, well...
This ain't the 5 o'clock
Shale
news.
still don't take no shit from anybody.
Yeah.
That Vanderlei Silva fight, I was actually impressed at this, no flinching, no hesitation.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Shale, it would be fist. Dana, I just don't,
No, he'll stab you.
Taser. Taser.
Or the guy you don't see behind you will stab you.
He's from Boston, man. From Southie.
Ken Shamrock in his pocket.
So you want to buy Brock Lesnar's house?
No, it looks
You
terrible.
can.
Why would it be so much?
43 acres.
Oh, okay.
A pond, a yard, a home, very large home with hardwood
Because
floors.
Brock and Sable had sex in there.
Yes.
Oh, I bet it still smells like
Does he have
sable.
an armory with a bunch of dick swords?
Probably. Quite possibly.
I'd buy it just if it smelled like sable.
Wow. $799,000. It's not bad.
I got an idea. Let's buy this house and set up Spartan runs on it.
I like that you could have bought it back in 2009 for $1.4 million.
Oh, is that it?
But now it's dropped down to $799. We got this, guys.
Let's just all pool our resources. I got $7.
It's got a spot. Look at that hot tub.
Oh, it's classy.
Dude, Brock Lesnar doesn't even fit in that hot tub.
The 2014 pole dancing champion only has $7.
He made two that night. And you made one, and that was for me.
I still don't know where my 2 came from.
There's no way he fits in that shower, by the way.
It's a pretty big shower. I'm wondering about the water displacement in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
And there's his training facility.
Oh my God.
Big 6-car garage that he's gutted.
I'm telling you, man, Spartans. Just buy it. We'll make that a Spartan training facility. and we'll do Spartans out on the property.
You want to live in Minnesota?
No.
All right, then. I would like to show you this video, but our studio internet just went down.
I know.
This video was about to tell you that Fedor does not support women MMA.
Is it translated? Is it proper translation?
They say it's translated properly.
Okay.
And basically they say that he said that women should basically invoke femininity and should be the master and the queen of the domain at home, but not in MMA. Is not a sport that allows her to do that. There are sports that help women keep their femininity, but MMA is not one of them.
Who's that big girl we covered last week? You said what's her name?
Gabby.
Yeah, why don't we have Fedor and Gabby go at it?
I'd watch that. I'd pay a lot of money
watch
for
the
that.
shit out of that.
I would, yeah. I would watch that all day. God, her guns were huge.
Yeah.
I still can't believe how... I didn't know she was on The Ultimate Fighter. I can't
Dude.
believe how big
Ginormous
her arms were.
over Vanderlei.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if we can tweet her and be like, dude, you hear what
I think
Fedor said?
that might happen.
I think she has a tweeter.
It's
after
a woofer, brother. I'm telling you right now.
after
There's no flicking the bean with that. It's a
No.
potato.
Speed bagging it, bro.
We are never going to get endorsed by the
Yeah.
UFC.
She could give you the Squidward, huh?
It'll make you look like Nortberg.
That is disgusting. Oh, my eyes.
So after UFC Fight Night Berlin, which we'll get to a little bit later, Gegard Mousasi and Tim Kennedy went at it on Twitter a little bit. Tim Kennedy said, so it appears that Mousasi is ranked number 7 at middleweight, right behind me. Curious. I would like to point out that he has an inconsistent chest hair pattern. Gegard Mousasi got on his Twitter and says, if you're looking for a fight, I'm coming for you, but also tag not only Tim Kennedy, but Dana White, the UFC, Nima Safur, Ariel Helwani, and Karen Bryant.
I thought they said Kobe Bryant for a second. I was like, why?
And Tim Kennedy responded to all those, why did you tag all those other people if you're trying to fight me?
I don't know, but I wish that people would just throw us in.
And then my favorite thing is he tweeted, ha 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 ha, resemblance. And you have,
Is that Mo?
that's Mo from The Simpsons, and a picture of Gegard Mousasi. And then Mousasi did laugh. You goofy lookalike McDonald clown. Normally I don't fight midgets, but for you I can make an exception.
Wow.
So hopefully this fight actually gets to happen.
Unnecessary beef, but I like it.
Yeah, well, they did fight in Strikeforce. Tim Kennedy has been rising in the ranks. He did say he would like to fight. Mousasi said he'd like to fight Tim Kennedy or.
I like this back and forth banner. I wish that they would start doing it like
a little more,
like John Jones is.
Luke Rockhold.
They need to send
Mousasi.
videos back and forth.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Is it wrong to have inconsistent chest hair?
I didn't-
Or back? Because we got it on our back. It's like something.
Patchy.
Yeah, it's
Is that a Ruloff family trait?
I don't know. It's got like half.
Do all the brothers? I mean, you got like what 8 brothers? Like how many of you got the?
If you put them all together, it spells something out.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was supposed to feel bad about that.
It's a code.
It's like the wind talkers.
See, that's why I don't have feelings. I just
I thought it was more like Da Vinci Code. We put them together. We can figure out where the arc is or something.
Move them around. It's like hieroglyphics. Find out how to connect the Aztec temples and the fucking pyramids.
Right?
Eh.
Calls down the aliens. So recently, Anderson Silva said he would like to come out back in 2015. I think we talked about this, where he was saying he would like to fight Nick Diaz in one of his comeback fights.
That'd be cool.
Ariel Helwani went to Nick Diaz. He said, I'm down for that as long as the money's right, of course.
yeah, because he's pretty much admitted that he's back in camp, right?
Who?
Nick
Anderson?
Diaz.
Or Nick Diaz? He's always training.
Well, because I had read something where he had laid out exactly how his comeback's going to be. So, like, it sounds like he really is going to come back and fight.
I would like to see him fight Anderson Silva.
I'd like to see him fight Anderson Silva, but the contract, when he comes back and he gets his $500,000, at that point in time, when he does fuck up with his money again, which he will, inevitably, because obviously he can't manage it for shit, he's not allowed anymore.
According to Joey Bueller.
He's not allowed to.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to bitch about money anymore. If they give him $500,000,
Dude, he's only got a Honda Civic.
I don't care, you crazy motherfuckers. He's too close to talk shit about.
That's why all these opinions are his, not mine.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, he's the one who said he ain't got no
Nick,
damn money.
Nate, I like you.
I didn't say I didn't like him. Just saying, if you want to learn how to manage your money, learn how to count past 10.
Ooh, wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
He's not above being choked out, people.
Jason Von Flew did
It's
it in the
happened
studio.
twice. It happened twice, right?
So, would you pay to see Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz fight?
I'd pay to watch Diaz fight at anything.
Would you consider this a main event fight?
It would draw more than some of the main events they've had.
Yeah.
I think that we've been spoiled and we have to have a title somewhere on the card.
Really?
Yeah.
I would pay for this as a main event fight. I think it's a really good fight.
I think it's a fantastic fight.
There's people online that are literally calling it the Chuck Norris versus Bruce Lee fight of our era. They're calling it,
which one's Bruce Lee?
The best fight ever in MMA, if this actually happens.
Which one's Bruce Lee?
Anderson Silva?
Really?
He does wear the yellow and black tights.
Oh, okay.
Don't know?
I don't know. I'd be down to watch it for sure.
All right.
They take my money.
Take my
money.
Yeah, but on the flip side, why not just give it to us free on a Friday night? Get some numbers, sell some advertising,
right? Like they did against James Irvin.
You know what I mean? Because then if they did it advertising wise, then they could set up the whole deal, and they would know that they'd have his $500,000 before the night even started.
That's true. Do it on a Fox card. Fox would love that.
Oh, dude, that'd be huge.
Yeah, Fox would nut up for that.
Yeah,
and why not?
So UFC Fight Night 40 happened back in May. This was in Cincinnati. Eddie Wineland, he had lost. He got his jaw broken by Johnny Eduardo. He is, this Friday, today, getting the wire finally taken out of his jaw so that he can actually open and eat again.
Oh, my God.
This is only the second time he's ever broken his jaw in his entire career. He's saying he is possibly going to retire because he does not want to go through another broken jaw.
I was going to say, I hope that's never a sentence I have to say. Oh, it's only the second time I've broken my jaw. But look at the bright side, though. He's had his jaw wired shut. That means he can drop a weight class.
Right? I don't know. Everybody I've ever talked to broke their jaw bad. It's bad.
I know. Yeah, my grandpa broke his jaw.
They say that it's just an ache and pain that just doesn't go away.
No, my grandpa broke his jaw in a car accident. The only time he ever shut the fuck up for more than a day.
Would you be all right with Eddie Wineland retiring, or do you think he's still got some fight left in him besides broken jaw?
I think he's still got some fight left in him, but shit, man. I mean, there's only so much punishment you want to take, really.
The jaw thing. Because there's a crack now, you know?
Yeah.
The jaw thing.
All right.
Ooh.
Topps company, who makes sporting cards, the memorabilia collectible cards. Mm-hmm. They have signed a deal with the UFC. They've had a deal for a little time now. They are going to launch a new set called the Topps UFC Knockout set, and they have decided to make Chael Sonnen their brand ambassador.
Why wouldn't they?
I mean, he's going to be running the UFC soon.
Exactly. So. Makes complete sense.
Do you think, as a diehard MMA fan, do you think that makes sense, or do you think they should have somebody maybe a little bit bigger, a little more recognizable? I mean, Chael's pretty recognizable, but one of the champions?
No, I think Chael's a perfect choice.
Do you think because the champions move too much?
Yeah, I think it's because, and that's why. I think because you have a champion and they're doing your brand, and then all of a sudden they lose their belt while your ad campaign's going on. Then what do you got?
What about one of your former champions? What about somebody like George St. Pierre, or even go back as far as Chuck Liddell? I mean, he's doing Durlast commercials. Why couldn't he do Topps Cards commercials?
And I bet you he is branded up in Canada. And I bet you if we go over to the UK, somebody else is branded on their cards, and as with Ireland and everything else.
It's possible. I think Chael Sonnen's a perfect pick, though, simply because he's a mouthpiece for the sport anyway.
Right. So I'm just saying he's probably the American ambassador. There's not a lot of people in Brazil going to go buy the Topps card with Chael in it. I mean, to throw stuff at or burn it. I was
going to say they might put them up on their dartboards. I think this is something we might need to do. I might steal this idea from this radio station. I'll give them this. They're pretty smart. I mean, it's not like it's an original idea. They're having fighters read mean tweets about themselves. So obviously this has happened
This is the new thing to do.
This is the new thing to do.
They have actors do this on
Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and
it was Jimmy Kimmel.
I do like this that they had Ryan Bader, and one of the first ones he says, Bader could be one of the greats if only he wasn't a fan of taking naps at inappropriate times, like during a fight after someone punches him.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
And then he said someone suggested that he should change his nickname from Darth to Master, so his name would be Master Bader.
Yeah.
And he claims, he said, it'd be kind of funny. He's like, but I heard this back when I was in third grade. Like, really, you're not the first guy to come up with it. It's not that funny.
Damn, I thought it was original.
Unless you're 12. Like,
thought about that for like an hour.
So I don't know. Do you think it's funny doing
this? Yeah, the mean tweets is hilarious. If we ever get a fighter in the studio, we can do that.
We can try that again. We only had one so far, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we do have a change of fight going down for the July 19th card. That's going down in Dublin. This was a fight that we were talking about for quite some time. These guys absolutely hate each other. Yeah. Conor McGregor was supposed to fight Cole Miller. Cole Miller is now out of that fight. This is the first time ever he's had to pull out of a fight in his career. He's tore a ligament and tendon in his hand. He is going to be replaced by Diego Brandao. He recently went online and put up an apology, put up a picture of himself in a cast. He says, I wanted to apologize to Conor. I wanted to bring my A game more than anyone I've ever scheduled to fight in my entire life. I know that you would have forced me to bring my best. Lastly, to the UFC, I am sorry. I was willing to do cardio only for half my training camp. However, when I was told that it would be 2/3 of the camp with the possibility of being the entire training camp, I was left no other choice. Doctor said if I didn't get casted, I may not be able to have proper grip in my hand again.
Which would suck for date night.
Yeah.
Bummer of a fight, but I mean, I understand.
Diego Brandao has stepped up.
Called him did Conor McGregor call him a pussy?
Diego Brandao stepped up.
Probably
and
a cunt.
Said that Conor McGregor called himself the future greatest of all time, and the best in the division is a bunch of bullshit, basically, and he's going to prove it. Do you think Diego Brandao is going to do well?
I think Diego Brandao is a great replacement.
Do you think he's going to do well?
I think so against
Conor McGregor. Or are you taking Conor McGregor?
I'm taking Conor McGregor, but I think he's going to put in one hell of a fight.
All right.
I really do. I was honestly kind of wondering about Cole Miller.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
got a lot of respect for the guy. His ground game is amazing, but you got somebody like Conor McGregor, whose stand-up is relentless. You know, I think Diego Brandao is going to fare better against that, at least.
Yeah, I talked to a couple fighters in Ireland, and they're all mad because they really wanted the Cole Miller thing.
Oh, everybody. Yeah. That's the big sell.
You talked to a couple fighters in Ireland?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. This whole week, I've been talking to people from King of the Cage, WFC.
Like on the phone?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's been schmoozing.
Not really. They yell at you.
That's just how
Everybody.
Talk,
Do you cover my stuff? No, not yet. Why not? I don't understand.
Why not, you cunt?
Who are you? Split decision
How
MMA.
dare you? What are you calling me for?
No, that guy, he's going to be coming over here in August to fight, and I had set him up with the WFC, and so then he was like, okay, have you ever heard of King of the Cage or this guy Allen? I'm like, yeah, King of the Cage is pretty big. And he's like, okay, so yeah, that's a good thing. And so then I just Googled Allen's name, and then it came up, and I just called the number, and he was on the way to a fight. It's his personal phone.
That's why he was so amped up, dude.
Yeah, but he didn't want to let me go, and he's and so King of the Cage obviously.
That's because that phone ain't rang in like.
So Alan, if you're listening, we do like your promotion.
Yeah. So it's been pretty interesting.
It's not a feeder organization.
Yeah, that's their big thing.
Right.
But then he did have a laundry list of how many people they have fed into the UFC.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's for not being a feeder organization, you've put out some really good fighters.
Right. So that's the thing I don't understand. Why are you upset about? I don't.
Well, this may be one of the reasons why he's upset.
Okay.
This might be a new reason to buy Fight Pass. UFC has put a deal together with Invicta. All future Invicta pay-per-views will be exclusive only to the UFC Fight Pass.
All right, they got me.
They got you?
Take my money.
$7.99 a month. You get every single Invicta event.
Wait, have they worked it out for tablets or PlayStations?
No, they have not yet.
And how many machines can you have on your account?
You get unlimited.
Yeah. Unlimited, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
unlimited, but it's limited to computers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So all we need is a username, and then we get a password, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And then you can put it on any machine.
It's just like
you
Netflix, where I can run it on my computer. You can run it on yours over there.
I see where you're going.
Right.
I'm in for 3.
I think Looney Bin Barbecue
I don't see how
might be able
I'm in
to,
for $3 a month.
I don't know.
Chuck
I
me
don't see
in.
how such a big organization hasn't figured out like an iPad app or something like that yet.
That's the biggest thing is they had their big app on the Xbox. It was great. I used to watch pay-per-views through it. You know what I mean? There's interactive, like you could switch camera angles and you can listen to different commentaries and you can vote who you think's going to win and by what and all this stuff. And it'll give you live stats while the fight's going on. Like, that whole thing was awesome. And so I thought when Fight Pass was going to be announced, It would be co in hand. And I'll be like, dude, I'll buy that in a heartbeat. I'll watch stuff from my Xbox all day long. And they're like, nope.
Yeah,
we got it on the PC so far. Can I watch it on my phone? No, we don't got that either.
Yeah, but they also told the same thing with football. Football, we were supposed to be able to watch 360, and they have yet to really give it to us. You can get the multi-camera, but it's still only like 5 or 6 different things. You know?
Can you get the multiverse?
What's the multiverse?
I don't know. It's from a movie. I forget.
I'd probably be stuck on the cheerleaders the whole time.
Just watching that and just listening to the thing. Hey, we scored again.
That would be a great option. Cheerleader cam.
Yeah.
Hey, we scored again.
Cheerleader cam.
I like this. Kyle Noak posted this on his Instagram. This is like back to Cowboy Cerrone truck, or like getting ready to load into his truck. He says this is the idea of keeping everyone hydrated at the lake.
That's what I would expect from Cowboy Cerrone.
I want to go to the lake with this man.
Right? And that's probably what? 15 cases of Bud, 8 to 10 cases of Michelob Ultra.
What's that translate to keg?
Mix the margaritas, the limeritas.
Well, you got to keep the girls happy.
Right?
Yeah. Beautiful.
You know how much liquor?
Doesn't have much liquor. He's sponsored by Budweiser, man. We had Ariana twerking on her video.
Yeah, that was awesome.
What?
That was one of my favorite posts of the week.
What?
I think her friend's got more booty than she does.
This is true.
Just
but
go
who
stick
cares?
my face in it, dude.
Motor butt.
No, I don't want to be in the butt.
Motor butt.
We can't watch anything else because the internet's down.
Yeah, well, that's all I want to watch.
Robert Drysdale is going to make his UFC debut again. This is the third time that they've announced that he's going to be making his UFC debut.
Vegas odds?
In the light heavyweight division. Supposedly this is going to be happening July 6th up against Keith Barish. Do you think this fight will actually happen?
Third time's a charm?
Possibly.
I'll hope so.
This is supposed to be happening on the Ultimate Fighter 19 finale.
I think Robert Drysdale would be a great asset to the UFC, so I'm going to hope, yes. Stop
You're
going
gonna
back to the twerk thing, man. You're messing me up over here.
What? That's Felice Herring. She was doing it too.
Do we have internet again?
No. Oh, maybe.
Oh.
Might come back. All right. Well, let's talk about this real quick. Back in February, the Nevada State Athletic Commission tested Vitor Belfort while he was in Las Vegas. Those results have never been released. We've been talking about this now for what? Since February?
I would guess so, yeah.
That how only he and the UFC knows and nobody wants to release the results, but everyone was assuming that he failed those results. He was later removed from UFC 175 card, citing issues with licensing. Now they're saying that he is basically going to release all the results this week. The Nevada State Athletic Commission said they were going to. In anticipation of that, he has decided to post a letter to his fans that basically state that, yes, on February 7th, he had a test that was indicated well above the therapeutic range for testosterone. So he did fail that test back in February. He says after he got with his doctors and started doing what he's supposed to be doing, by February 27th, he was off TRT and he has passed all the tests up until that day. And so that he feels that he can be licensed. He's going to apply to the Nevada State Athletic Commission and grant his application. And hopefully he says, I've passed all the tests since then. Basically allow me to fight.
So when he gets licensed, he's going to celebrate with a TRT bump?
Or just a bump of TRT. Just a bump.
So he says by the 22nd of February, his results were back to normal. So we'll actually get to see his actually.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know much about TRT, but it just means could that possibly mean that he was just cycling down?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, oh God, this video.
John Jones. A lot of people again. The saga continues. We do have a final answer as of today, but leading up to this, John Jones basically was saying, "How am I?" What did he say? Let's see. He says, asking for undefeated Olympic wrestler, Strikeforce champion makes me somehow a coward. How about the fact that I beat Gustafsson, whether you guys like it or not? It's my career, not yours."
Admittedly, he beat Gustafsson because Gustafsson didn't decisively kick his ass, and it was a title shot. That's the only reason. If it was a 3-round fight and the same fight goes down,
for Gustafsson. I would have gave it to Gustafsson.
Yeah, but it has to be decisive.
And so does a lot of other people.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying though. He didn't.
It wasn't decisively.
It wasn't an ass whooping,
right?
So to speak. I mean, it was an ass whooping, but it wasn't an ass whooping. And if he just issued that statement, it wouldn't bother me. It's the way he says it into the camera that pisses me off.
Go ahead. The way you can play it, can't you?
The way he mocks pretty much everybody.
Asking for undefeated Olympic wrestler, Strikeforce champion, makes me somehow a coward. How about the fact that I beat Gustafsson?
Is he stoned?
That's what I'm.
How close it was or not? It's my career, not yours.
See, I wish they would start making comments to each other this way
on YouTube.
Yeah, and then
remember he posted the one before that was like. Like mocking his fans, like he does the same attitude. He's always sitting there with his shirt off, though. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, all up in your webcam.
It's because it's right when he's working out. He gets these thoughts in his head, and he's like, "Oh, get the camera."
He's just such a condescending prick when he does those videos.
You know what they should really do is just hand him a mic, and when they get out into the fucking ring, they can start talking shit to each other.
Yeah,
like WWE. I'm just saying.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
When the door cage is
How come it hasn't happened?
I don't know.
There's like Clay Guida. You know, he could.
You know I was being sarcastic, right?
No,
we saw that, dude. We saw that in Bellator with Rampage, and I'm a monster that throws down his thing while drinking a Monster while wearing Monster headphones because he's sponsored by Monster. Like, come on.
I want Chael Sonnen backstage to be talking shit to somebody, and then like Vanderlei Silva come up with a chair and hit him while he's staring straight to the camera.
No, and you know who's going to get in the beef out back? It's the people who aren't fighting that night. You know,
of course.
So if they're not on the main card,
it'll be Nick Diaz every time.
That's the first time I went to the UFC was in Sacramento. Okay, and that was when George St. Pierre took Matt Hughes' title. Okay, they're leaving. And you got these Canadians waving a Canadian flag in Matt Hughes' face while he's walking all defeated. Robbie Lawler went up to those Canadians, snatched their flag, threw it on the ground, and almost tried to yank the dude down. And the security had to remove Robbie Lawler. And he's like, fuck you, like going all crazy. I'm like,
really?
Dude, you didn't even fight. What is going on with you, bro?
Send out the backstage antics, man. Be perfect. You just see someone like outside, all of a sudden.
Well, they did Pride. They kind of did this. How many of you ever watched it? But with Pride, where Boss Rutan was interviewing... who was it? Kevin Randleman. They were doing an interview backstage. Come to find out it was all staged later, but they do an interview and he starts talking. He's like, yeah, kind of like that time I beat you for the title in the UFC. And Kevin's like, well, I don't think you really beat me. He's like, Boss is like, no, I won. One judge gave it to me. Another judge gave it to you. And the other judge gave it to me. So I won. And Kevin Randleman shoots on him and starts taking him down. Boss starts like punching him in the head. And the cameraman's like, oh my God. And then he like cuts away. And then they come back like after the whole fight, and they're laughing in the locker room, and they're like, I got you guys. Like,
and then there's that clip where Brock Lesnar's walking out of the ring, and he walks.
Walks to the Undertaker. You want to do it?
You want to do this? You want?
Right now.
You know what that was about?
What?
You want to beat my streak in the UFC in the WWE?
That's what it was.
That was about. It was supposed to happen 6 years earlier.
They finally came out with that. So here's my idea. Hear me out here.
All right.
I got a little brainchild I'm working on here. Let's no longer announce when a fighter has to pull out of a fight, so we can still continue to think. For example, Cole Miller, stop it. So we can still continue to think that Cole Miller's going to fight Conor McGregor, right?
Right.
And then here's what happens the night of the fight, right? You got the camera while Cole Miller's walking in, and we don't see that he's injured. And out of nowhere, here comes Nick Diaz with the trash can. Boom! And then Nick Diaz is like, yeah! And then Diego Brandao comes in. He's like, well, I'll step in and fight Conor McGregor then. And then everybody's like, yeah, Diego Brandao, woo! And then boom. That's how they do it every single time a fighter gets injured.
What did Nick Diaz have to do with Diego Brandao?
Nothing. He won't fight, so make him the trash can throwing guy. Every time
I take out injured fighters.
That's his new job in the UFC.
He's the UFC cleanup.
Dude, and Don Fry could sneak in because he shaved off his mustache and nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And then he comes up with a chair. Boom! Now Cole Miller can't fight. Who's going to step in? Diego Brandao.
Yeah.
Hero of the day. And then everybody's like, oh, Vegas betting odds just changed. Money down. You know, kind of stuff. But
Vegas would not go for that shit at all.
But they all know.
That's why you can't bet on the WWE.
This is true. And because it's fake.
Dana just said, what are you trying to get me? You trying to get me kicked out of another casino? That's what Dana just said.
No, Dana just said, what the fuck am I listening to? Who turned this on?
Resolve is John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson are finally booked for their rematch September 27th. Both guys have signed on the dotted line. We do have a fight.
Good.
Even Daniel Cormier was saying, I deserve to step, like, I'm okay with stepping aside because Gustafsson deserves this fight.
Good.
I wonder how that conversation went. John's like, Dana, no, I'm not going to, you're fighting Gustafsson. No,
look,
you don't
fucking goof.
Hey, fucking get on FaceTime right now. Look at me. You're fighting fucking Gustafsson. Got it?
You fucking goof.
Yeah. And calm down on that gay ass shit you're posting. Are you high?
So one last little bit of news before we get into the recaps and the preview of the fights is we have Joe Rogan was recently interviewed, and they asked him about weight cutting, and he says that sort of it's cheating. Extreme weight cutting is a way of cheating, but everybody does it. And there's nothing that they talk about. And he says when they're talking about it, he says because of the gap between weight classes, especially between 170, 185, and 205, there's a big gap. And he says, I think there should be some sort of regulations where fighters are weighing in, just like the surprise drug test, maybe 5 or 6 weeks out, not just the day before, because of where the weight's at. Where you got guys that are going in and saying, oh yeah, I fight at 170. I mean, look at who we were talking about before, Gleason Tibau, and he mentions that too. There's no way you're a motherfucking 155-pound dude.
No.
Just because you can make weight one day does not make you a 155-pounder. And it's almost unfair to the guys who are actually 155 pounds that are healthy at 155 pounds and fight at that weight. That's the honesty of it, is that you should fight at where you're at. If you tell me that you're, say, 185, you should fight at 185, not cut down to 155 because you can.
Yeah, I don't know about that, though. I mean, they have a specific time they have to make weight, and it's bending the rules, not really breaking them.
That's what he says. He goes, it's illegal cheating. Everybody seems to do it, but he thinks that it would make for better fights, better fighters, if they were to fight at their actual weight, not a weight cut.
Or why don't they weigh in that morning? If they fight that night, why don't they weigh in that morning?
I don't know. They do in jiu-jitsu tournaments. You got to weigh in right before you get on the mat.
Yeah, and wrestling, I think wrestling too is your match has to be within 12 hours of being weighed.
Yeah. And now they say, one of the things is, they talked about, he says, guys can die from weight cutting. He's seen it happen. We've seen it in Brazil. We've seen it in college wrestling. He's like, I can tell you, I watched Travis Lutter when he weighed in for the Anderson Silva fight. He missed weight. He came back. He said, it was never seen a person look worse in my life. He said he was shuffling in because he couldn't walk. He was sliding his feet, couldn't lift his legs. His lips were chapped. His body was dehydrated. His cheeks were sunk in. He's like, and he's getting ready to fight the baddest motherfucker on the planet at the time in 24 hours.
Right.
And he comes in and he looks like he's on death's door. He says, what if he got the flu right there? Somebody coughed on him while he's in the middle of the weigh-in, and he has no immune system because he's completely dehydrated and fucking dies. It's not out of the realm of impossibility. It could happen.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as tripping over a rock and hitting the perfect spot on your melon.
It's true, but I mean, just they say it's dangerous. It's definitely crazy.
Well, like Shale, if they want him to come down to 185, he says he walks around at 236. Mm-hmm. So 50-something pounds.
You can do it, though. I'm not saying it's smart. I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah.
But they've created the loophole to where it's possible. So these guys are using it to their advantage. I mean, it happens in every other sport, too.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
He says, there's ways for you to get your body down healthily to the right weight. And some of these guys, he's saying, that are huge muscle guys that cut all the weight so that they can get to that weight, and they're huge. He's like, I don't think that's the proper weight for them. And he's like, I've gotten some flack. He's all, Tyron Woodley freaked out when I was making comments about him during one of my matches, or one of his matches, saying he's a big muscly dude that has no gas tank because he cuts so much weight. He should be fighting a weight class above. He took offense to it. He goes, but I'm just reporting what I see and how I feel. Yeah, well, that's my job.
It's a good point. I mean, they think they're giving themselves an advantage by going into this situation where they're going to be bigger than their opponent, but they're also depleting their body of necessary nutrients. And hydration, and their endurance and all that stuff is leaving too. So it's like when they go in and they're big and they win, nobody says anything. But when they go in and they lose, they can blame it on their gas tank and blame it on their weight cut.
Yep.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Like, how much did that day that Rondo, just to prove a point on Ultimate Fighter, what'd she drop in a day?
Like 18 pounds.
Yeah.
If not more.
Like nothing. Yeah. Like it wasn't even stressed to her.
It's all boob weight.
So, I mean, how do you think it's like illegal cheating? Do you think guys should create maybe more weight classes? Or do you think...
I don't think it's cheating when you're using the rules to...
Right.
The rules are rules. You make the mark.
It's illegal cheating. Everybody does it. He's just saying that for the safety of fighters and for a more fair fight or more of a close fight...
Then I completely agree with that. I think that the safety should be the number one concern, without a doubt.
So what's that going to do to some of our divisions?
That's what I'm saying. Do you increase the amount of divisions? Or...
How much disadvantage is the weight, though? I mean, if you're higher skill and you're a smaller guy, you can't take out a big guy? I'm just wondering.
It can be pretty tough.
Some of these guys are coming in way heavy, though.
I mean, again, Gleason Tibau, we talked about. He fights at 155. He outmuscles every single person he brings to the cage.
He normally 20 pounds back after the weight.
Yeah, he normally fights at like 170, 180. He walks around at 180. You know what I mean? Like, they're saying that they've seen him as heavy as 196 pounds, and he cuts to 155?
Right.
That's insane.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because they get a lot of these guys when they get their body used to it.
Yeah,
they've just become a prune. I mean, and then the hydration, the muscles back.
Brock Lesnar walked around. They said at 296 up to 300 pounds, and he would cut to 265 to make weigh-ins. By the time of fight day, he was back to like 290.
But I'd like to also
and you're fighting a guy who's in 240 pounds.
The guys that do this, though,
that's where it's me. The biggest
end up
is
with weird. Internal problems.
Well,
kidney, liver, stomach.
Case in point, Anderson Silva. The guy cuts from anywhere from 212 to 221 down to 185. And, I mean,
shatters his leg.
Because he's naturally skinny anyway. He's not a huge guy like Brock Lesnar or something like that. Obviously, his body gave out on him.
Right.
You know? Not taking away from the check kick. I mean, that was obviously done right, but we've never seen that happen to Anderson Silva before, and he's constantly cutting from 221 at the highest down to 185. Right. It's going to take a toll on your body eventually. So my concern isn't so much that it's like legal cheating. My biggest concern is the health aspects of it. No, anyway.
So we had both going down. By the way, this was on Fox Sports 1. I got to watch some of this. I was pretty happy. This was the Ultimate Fighter Brazil finale.
Brazil.
And then we also had Ultimate Fight Night Berlin.
Yeah.
And one little mishap happened. They shipped the canvas, the blank UFC canvas with just the UFC logo on it, was supposed to go to the Brazil, and it got shipped to the Germany. They got switched. They got switched.
So all the advertisers on the field mat got TV time then?
No, they're saying that Germany's canvas got sent to Brazil. And so, all the advertisers...
So this canvas is in Brazil right here?
Yes. All the ones that were supposed to be on TV had no sponsors on the floor on Fox Sports 1.
Oh, shit.
And Dana White, #someone fucked up big. Someone got fired.
Hey, remember where you used to work?
You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't no more.
Remember when you had a job? All right, so
you want to go over? So let's go, we can go over Ultimate Fight Night Brazil first.
Yeah. Do you want to do the whole thing? Or do you just want to start do the main card?
We just do the main card. We had Robert Peralta defeat Hani Jason, split decision. I thought Hani Jason did enough. He did end up breaking his hand in that fight, so it did give him a little bit of disadvantage. But it is what it is.
Hey, I got to pick right.
Damian Maia over Alexander Yakovlev. Warley Alves becomes your middleweight Ultimate Fighter Brazil winner over Marcio Alexandre Jr. with a guillotine choke. 25. I mean, he just rushed over and choked the guy.
Him. Yeah,
like it was crazy. Antonio Carlos Jr. over Vitor Miranda in a slow, sloppy, unanimous decision fight.
Sounds like the Ultimate Fighter the other night.
But that's pretty much what it looked like, yeah.
Oh, God.
Except in the Ultimate Fighter, we got slow-mos of the ring card girls walking around the ring, like more than we normally do, and I was okay with that.
Real quick, we didn't even go over the Ultimate Fighter. Let's finish this up real quick.
All right, and then we have Stipe Miocic going up against Fabio Maldonado, taking Maldonado out in 35 seconds.
Nice. Way to go, Stipe Miocic.
Good job, Stipe Miocic.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, just real quick. Probably one of the worst fights I think I've seen in the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, there's not really much to talk about. Except
it was pretty slow.
That, like, at one point...
We had the Coach's Challenge.
This is true, Coach's
Challenge. Which was hilarious because it was a kayaking challenge. They had to go out around some buoys and back. And immediately Frankie Edgar balks and is like, what is this bullshit? He practically kayaks to his friend's house when he wants to go hang out. He lives in Hawaii and owns kayaks. And we got to have the challenge on water? That's not fair. Like
it was pretty damn funny.
And he lost.
But he muscled through it pretty well,
He muscled pretty good. And he was winning for a minute. Yeah, but then BJ got him on the turns. Frankie Edgar had no idea how to turn a kayak.
Yeah, technique all day over strength in that Coach's Challenge. That fight, without doubt, though, one of the worst fights I've ever seen on The Ultimate Fighter. At one point, Aaron and I looked at each other and were like, well, I have to give it to that guy because he actually threw a punch that round, right?
Right.
I mean, so that means he won.
Long hair won the first round.
Because he
threw some punches,
for doing something, right?
Yeah, and then second round, definitely the other guy.
See, I kind of thought Longhair could have stole the second round with his takedowns.
Could have, but he got gouged in the eye.
and that guy's kind of a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm kind of glad he lost because after he blatantly kicked dude in the nuts and then threw a flying knee at him. When he knew he caught him in the nuts, and the guy turned around to walk off holding his nuts, he throws a flying knee. And then when he gets gouged in the eye, he flops like he's playing basketball with LeBron James.
It was pretty, hey, LeBron James didn't have air conditioning last night, okay? That's why he got carried off. He didn't have air conditioning, he was cramping.
No, he definitely did not make a fan out of me with his antics in the cage.
But his eye was pretty jacked. I mean, he had a good size abrasion. He got poked in the eye. It was a pretty good...
He got scratched. Don't poke me in my eyes, man.
Is it a scratch?
I paid a lot of money for these eyes. Don't be fucking with my eyes.
Is it poke or is it a scratch?
I will sue you for $5,000 if you fuck with my eyes.
You guys want to?
You ever had lasers fucking shot in your? You ever had lasers shot in your eyeball, man?
Yeah, it sucked. I was at the movies and someone was playing those stupid pointers, and I turned around. I was like, "Hey, well, don't be a dick." Okay, I'm sorry.
Did it fix them?
No.
You got the wrong kind of
laser.
That's
why I got glasses. So then moving over to Ultimate Fight Night, Munoz versus Mousasi on the Fight Pass.
This I did not see any of.
Didn't see any of.
No.
I watched the replays online when I found it.
I mean, the major fights on here that you got to look at are the top two, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the big fights are obviously...
It's good to see that Yuri Alcantara won and Maximo Blanco won. Good
Yeah,
for him.
I was pretty happy with that.
Magnus won as well. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to try to say his last name. And then on the main card, you got Nicholas Backstrom up against Tan Nikimaki.
That one surprised me. I thought Nikimaki had that fight.
Yeah, a rear naked choke.
Yeah, until he got choked.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying I thought he was going to be able to win that fight.
You were winning until you lost.
No, not quite like that.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
Sean Strickland up against Luke Barnett. This was a split decision at the end of the third round with Sean Strickland getting the victory. CB Dollaway, who we picked last week, got the decision over Francis Carmont.
And he was pretty dominant over as well.
Good for him.
He was pretty dominant. And then Gegard Mousasi, looking like the Gegard Mousasi that had all the hype behind him.
Like his first 2 fights in Strikeforce?
When he came into Strikeforce and put away Mark Munoz, rear naked choke in the first round. And again, this is what we talked about last week. I thought Mark Munoz would have enough because Gegard Mousasi hasn't proven otherwise. He originally did when he started. He was looking like a mini Fedor. I mean, he was tearing people apart. I mean, he still looks like he just woke up like Fedor, like he doesn't care.
So if you're listening, new critic, he's admitting some stuff.
I just think, maybe now is the time Mousasi's going to start going back on that tear and looking like he should have looked a long time ago.
That'd be awesome. I mean, he's in a good weight class.
He had all the hype.
So we'll see.
So we do have a fight that is going to be coming up this Saturday, June
tomorrow night?
7th. Right, today is the 6th. Yes, June 7th. This will be on Fox Sports 1.
Sweet.
You can catch the first... Look at this. You can catch the first fight. Patrick Cummins getting his second fight in the UFC. Barista Boy is fighting Roger Narvaez on Fight Pass. He's getting his second shot.
I'm down for that. I'm down to see if he
they have to. They signed him to at least a 2 or 3 fight.
Yeah, it had to be a 2-fight contract.
Yeah. I want to see if he can actually beat somebody who you can't click on.
Because he did not look well at all. Oh, I just caught that too. It's funny because it's true.
I think Patrick Cummins will actually do well in this fight, having the.
And the only reason you could click on Cummins is because of the fight.
Because of the barista thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll always take a blue link over no link.
Being former 2-time NCAA All-American at Penn State, I will give him the opportunity that he might be able to show that he's a decent fighter, just not ready for Daniel Cormier.
I wonder if he'll still use "I made Daniel Cormier cry."
Right. That's what he's telling his opponent. His opponent's like, I don't care, dude. We're on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
No, nobody's watching. Nobody cares.
Even if you get knocked out, nobody's going to hear it.
Prelims going down on Fox Sports 1. You got John Tuck going against Jake Lindsay. Any decision there?
John Tuck can't click on Jake Lindsay.
All right, is that what we're going with? You want me to mouse over? Like,
there you go.
I'll take a blue link over no link, and I'll take a purple link over a blue link most of the time.
All right, because you've already clicked that one before. I got you.
Exactly.
Right. Scott Jorgensen going up against Danny Martinez.
Yeah, big time Scotty on that one.
Scotty needs to win this fight, though.
Scotty don't.
Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty needs to win this fight.
Scotty don't.
If he does not win this fight, I think he will get his walking papers.
Scotty don't.
Bobby Volkler going up against Lance Benoit. Or Benoist. Benoist.
Ben Moist.
Benoist.
Ben Moist.
I got Bobby Volker in this one.
I'll take Bobby Volker in this fight as well. I'm saying TKO within the second.
Okay.
All right.
I don't disagree with that.
You got Yatsuin Meza going up against Sergio Pettis.
Sergio
Pettis, the obviously younger brother of Anthony Pettis. He did have a tough time going up against Alex Caceres, who we said don't sleep on when we talked about that. We did think, I thought Sergio Pettis would have enough to win, but definitely was saying don't sleep on Alex Caceres, and he proved it.
Yeah, Alex Caceres definitely figured out how to fight, apparently.
Well, we'll see how he does against Uriah Faber when that comes down to it. But I think I'll be taking Pettis in this fight.
Yeah, I'll take Pettis. He's gonna have some good kicks, some good stand up. Hopefully he can confuse Yotzen and get a win before the bell rings in the third round.
We do have Eric Perez going up against Brian Caraway starting off your main card.
Yes.
Are you just happy because you might get to see Miesha Tate?
Yes.
Go Perez.
Go Perez.
Team Perez.
Team Perez. Kick him in the balls straight out the gate.
So obviously you're taking Perez over Caraway?
Yeah, I'll take Perez.
All day.
Caraway is a decent wrestler. We've seen that in the past. He doesn't always have the best game plan. They seem to like to coast him. They like to coast his fights a lot of times. We've seen that before with Miesha being his coach. Maybe them both moving to Vegas, things have changed. Now that they got a house together and crushed Joey's dreams.
When they break up, he's going to get kicked out of the UFC immediately. I'm just saying.
He's secretly being paid as her handler.
I think if it goes to the floor, Perez has got heavy ground and pound as well. I think Caraway's going to win this fight.
Do you really? You think his wrestling's going to come out on top?
Yeah. I'd like to see Perez win as well. I don't like Brian Caraway. I haven't liked him since the season.
You just hate anything that's been involved with Misha Tate.
No.
You don't even like cupcakes anymore.
Different to him.
Eve Edwards going to get up against Piotr Hallman.
Yeah.
This should be actually a pretty good fight, the lightweight. I like Eve Edwards.
Do you like Eve Edwards?
Yeah. I always want him to win.
Technically, he lost his last, or he won his last fight because the other guy tested positive for drugs, but he did.
Hey, a win's a win, baby. A win's a win.
Yep.
he did get. I believe he was knocked out. Like,
I ain't gonna tell anybody how I won. Just I won.
Yeah.
Like that guy who won the fight because his opponent tapped out for him.
Yeah.
I won.
Or that chick in the bronze medal. Yeah.
I'm 1-0.
So you taking Eve Edwards or Hallman?
Oh, I'll take Eve Edwards.
Eve Edwards?
Yeah.
You don't think he's done? Think he's a little past his prime?
I don't even know how old he is, man.
Old.
He should be ancient, right? He's like 50.
Do we have? I mean, he's been around the block for a long time. We know that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find out how old Eve Edwards. He is 37. Dude, that's old for a fighter.
37.
He's had 64 fights in his career.
That's
Hey.
insane.
Not old.
Mr. 37 over here says it's not old. I'm going to take Hallman.
All right.
Rafael Dos Anjos going up against Jason High.
That could be a cool fight, man. That could be a really, really cool fight.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't even know who to pick here. I think I might take Jason High though.
Yeah?
You're taking high, bro.
I'm gonna go against my purple ink rule. I'm gonna take Jason
Even
High.
though he's, Rafael Dos Anjos is a champion in Sambo,
Yeah.
I'm going to take Anjos.
All right.
I'll take Anjos
Rafael.
just to spite you.
Rafael 2 hands.
Yeah.
This fight is technically a rematch of a fight that nobody ever saw.
Then did it really happen?
Well, did it really happen? John Dodson going up against John Moraga. This fight happened back 2010 in December in the Dominican Republic, where no fighter on the card got paid.
What?
Yes, because all the guys, basically the whole event went down badly. Like the promoters didn't pay any of the fighters. The fighters are still trying to get paid, trying to get sued. They're suing them. Like, it was a big story we talked about a long time ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
I will be taking John Dodson in this fight.
Yeah, I think you have to take John Dodson in this fight.
Both these guys love to trade. They like to throw. I just think John Dodson can avoid damage really well. Very, very quick. I'll take Dodson over Moraga. I think Moraga's a little too... I wouldn't say unseasoned. Yeah, he's just not as experienced.
No, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
16 total fights. Let's see. I think John Dodson has...
Dodson. We got Dodson here.
Dodson, 21 fights.
Yeah, nobody cares.
A little more. Diego Sanchez going up against Ross Pearson. Diego Sanchez bringing back the Nightmare nickname.
Oh, God, I really hope Ross Pearson wins this fight.
He is no longer the Dream. He says he needs to bring the Nightmare back into the cage. He's got his life changed. It's no longer a nightmare for him outside the cage. He is now okay with it being the Nightmare in the cage.
All right.
He's going to try to push.
I hope he just brings the faces. I love the faces.
I love the faces.
Yes, cartwheel. Yes, cartwheel.
Yes, cartwheel all day long. This could be fight of the night. This could be if John Moraga, John Dodson isn't fight of the night. Diego Sanchez, Ross Pearson will be fight of the night.
Ross Pearson got some damn heavy hands, and
really good technical boxing.
Yeah, really good technical boxing. He's got great sprawl.
In my opinion, Diego Sanchez wins a lot of his fights on heart.
Yeah, because you could beat the shit out of him, bud.
Yeah.
They proved it. He'd just take a beating.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Diego, big time.
He does not have necessarily the physical gifts that Pearson has as far as like technicality and that sort of thing. He's just, like I said, a lot of heart.
And that's the problem too.
Likes to swing a lot, but he does have good takedown defense, good takedowns. But so does Ross Pearson.
If this fight goes on too long, then Ross Pearson is probably going to lose it.
Yeah, I'll take I still think Pearson decision. I'll take him to win decision.
And I think Diego's going to attack his legs. He's going to be kicking the shit out of his legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diego's got to look out for those big overhand rights from Ross Pearson, and if he connects multiple times with those, then Diego's going to be opened up pretty good, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for us. He's got all that scar tissue on his forehead. But the problem here is that Diego will keep coming if you don't stop him, and I think that's a problem for Ross Pearson as it gets to the third round, at the end of the second and the third round. It's an issue. So yeah.
Main event: Benson Henderson going against Rustav Khabibulov.
Khabibulov.
Nice.
Yeah, Benson Henderson.
Taking Benson Henderson.
Yeah.
I think Benson Henderson also is going to win. Khabibulov needs to definitely use his takedowns, which he has amazing takedowns.
It's going to be hard to take Benson Henderson
It
down.
is extremely hard to take Benson Henderson down, but he does have those judo throws, man, and those sambo throws, and they are pretty vicious.
Yeah.
If he can get him constantly take him down and grind on him, Rustamov can definitely win this fight. I just think Benson has more tools in the toolbox. Overall, a better fighter. I will be taking Benson Henderson.
He's completely unorthodox. You never know what to expect from Benson Henderson. I think that's probably a good way to go with it. It could be a super exciting fight, though, too. So keep an eye on those last 3 fights. All very exciting. Keep an eye on those on Fox Sports 1 this weekend. Make sure you check them out because they're free. So why wouldn't you? So that wraps it up. Another episode of Split Decision in the books. Make sure you tell your friends. Check us out on Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes. If you subscribe on iTunes, you won't miss us at all. Also, our official website is splitdecisionmma.com, where you can get our podcast as well. On Facebook, Split Decision MMA Podcast. Throw us a like. We're up over 700 now, which is awesome. And then on Twitter and Instagram, it's SD_MMA. That wraps it up for us from the Ruloff Family Inc. studio. It is Bueller and God saying have a good night. See you at the fights.